Hi, I'm Anna, I'm the creator of Hood, and today I'm trying to shine some light on the different locations that we created for the world of Hood. The Anglia, it's the island group that we know as Scotland, Wales and England, but in our history the name was changed to the Anglia in 1378 after the sacking of the Vatican and the ripping apart of the country that we know today as England. Back then, at first, the country is split in an autonomous queendoms, and over the years, like with a real history, there were wars, countries got conquered, and they grew, the number diminished again, and the main difference between the Anglia of 1378 and the Anglia of Robin's modern day story is that we lost about 25 to 33% of landmass during the Great Torrent of 1921. The Great Torrent was the result of centuries of climate change, and there was massive melting of the ice caps and torrential rain that caused flooding throughout the world, and only the higher places in our England still stand. East Mercia is one of the queendoms of the Anglia that got created in 1378. Since the beginning, the Fitzwater family has been providing the reigning monarchs of this country. Although they don't govern alone, they are supported by 5 other families. One of them is the Locksley family, which is Robin's. So Robin is actually quite high standing. East Mercia itself is centred around what nowadays is like Nottinghamshire, like it's mid-England. To the south, it's called Wastelands. After the Great Torrent, there was not much left of that area to live on. As with East Mercia itself, like it got quite heavily hit by the Great Torrent, probably one of the greatest hits, as East Mercia lost about 50% of their landmass. In the modern day times, Nottingham is still a very grand city, but also after the Great Torrent hit, a lot of populations moved to the greater cities, so Nottingham really expanded and got really big, more or less the size of what London is today in real world. Because of the influx of a lot of people, the life standards got diminished over the years, and Prince John back then, now King John, decided that it would be smart to put up a wall to make sure that the life expectancy and the life standards would not diminish even further. So he built a great wall around roughly the city centre of Nottingham, and the area inside is now known as the Inner Circle, where life is good and luxurious and a lot of food and good healthcare, not high criminal rates. Outside it's called the Outer Circle, and they are left to live on the scraps of the Inner Circle. So everything goes to the Inner Circle first, and then whatever is left, people in the Outer Circle will receive. Also, the further you move away from the wall, the worse it gets. At the edges, it's not a very pleasant situation to live in. So at the far edge of the city of Nottingham, there's an area that we call Greenwood. This used to be a factory facility that during the Great Torrent in 1921 got flooded and got been put out of use. It's a mash of a lot of different people, so it's full of people who were either outlawed by the state, who themselves chose to go there because they want to rebel against the state, or just simply anybody who can't find a place to live anywhere else. And in our story, the rebels have made that their home, currently led by Will Scarlet, and they use Greenwood as their base to disrupt anything they can in the city of Nottingham. So aside from the story happening in the capital of the city, a large part does happen on the Locksley estate. As the name says, is owned by Robin Locksley. She's the head of this estate, as she is the head of the Locksley family. And the main seat on the Locksley estate is Huntingdon Hall, where Robin was born, grew up, and still loves to spend her time. She thinks it's the most perfect place in the world. The Locksley estate got a little bit hit during the Great Torrent. They didn't used to be seaside, they're now seaside, and they have expanded their farmlands from not only being on mainland, also trying to cultivate crops within the seawater. on the Loxley estate, you've got the Sherwood Forest, which are the burial grounds of the Loxley family, which is one of the largest in the country. As within this society, whenever people die, they don't get buried beneath stone or cremated. They get interred underneath a little sapling tree that over the years will grow and feed off their last life essence, and many big forests were created that way, of which Sherwood is one of the biggest. There's another main location that is very important to our story, but it's not situated on the India Isle, and it's called Orme Rouge. It is situated on a place that used to be called Wadan and was created roughly around 1895, 1896, after the end of the Second High-Cath War. It used to be a very dry desert land, but with the help of the Phoenix Stones, the magical reckoning holds of the Blomgren sisters of the Second High-Cath War, it got turned into a very, very fertile place with lots of green and water, and it turned into the refuge place for all the High-Cathai that over mainly Europe were sort of like shunned and cast out and had need of a place to go. And that became Orme Rouge, where they live in a society that is reigned by the Oculus, with the Octal at his head, as confirmed with the way of High-Cathism. It's a city completely based in the High-Cath faith. All the rules come from their religion and their beliefs, and they are quite shut off from the rest of the world. They hold a grudge for how they've been treated, but life within the walls of Orme Rouge is very good. They were one of the few countries that actually did not have a massive outfall after the Great Torrent and the long famine that reigned over the rest of the world, because of their magic. Their magic could help them sustain, not sustain life, but more help them. They sustained the fertility of the place, but also help them with growing crops. And that's also kind of why Richard decided to go and have a war there, because he coveted whatever they had within those walls. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit that like button. If you've got any questions, leave us a comment below. And if you'd like to know more about the world of Hood, don't forget to subscribe.